Today we're doing rock climber tries weightlifting challenges, and we're gonna yell the whole time because yelling is how you get views on YouTube. Ah! You gotta rant and rave. The main demographic on YouTube is kids 13 years or younger. Look at this metric. We're trying to make that 100%. So I gotta yell to keep their attention. They're on their iPads all day, just leaving YouTube running, getting all that ad revenue. I want some of that. You like when I yell in your face, you little shit? First challenge, Nick Simmons pays you $1,000 if you can clean and jerk your body weight over your head. 66 pounds. It's not looking good, Nick. 50 kilograms. 110 pounds. It's 45 degrees out. I'm feeling hot. I need my smelling salts. Whoa. 110. This is 155, 154. I'll weigh 150. Nick, I'll bill you. There's no way. So I failed the first challenge. Big surprise, I can't put 150 pounds over my head. I'm not Big Al, okay? So it was time to move on to the second challenge, which also comes from Nick Simmons' channel, which is taking a dumbbell and doing the same thing. But in this one, you get $1 for every weight you get over your head. Now there are two ways of doing this. You can either clean and jerk the weight, which involves shoulder pressing it for the second half, or just snatching it, which is yanking it all the way over your head. Now I'm kind of like Popeye, you know, I got these big strong forearms, but my shoulder game's kind of weak. Like look at this guy, he's not shoulder pressing shit. So I decided to go with the snatch and just try 50 pounds. Slippers. That was not that bad. I could definitely do more. I just lost myself some money. Well, I picked a good weight to start at. Oh. So I made my first $50 and I was pretty excited, but I was also a bit curious why so many of these weightlifting terms sounded so sexual. Like you could say a sentence that means one thing to a weightlifter and something completely different to everyone else. Like, I tried to jerk it, but I just love the snatch too much.
It's just...
Moving on to our third challenge, this one came from the YouTuber Will Tennyson. I think that's how you pronounce his name. This is the impossible curl. It involves you having to have your butt, shoulder blades, and head all pressed against a wall while you curl as much weight as you can. So I started with the first weight, which is 45 pounds. This was pretty easy, easiest $10 I ever made. Next was 75 pounds. This one I struggled a little bit on, but overall it wasn't too bad, getting me $30. Now the next weight was 115, but if I go for 115 and I don't get it, I don't make any money. Now I was feeling pretty good at this point and I decided $70 sounded pretty good and I was gonna go for 115. Now I didn't know how much 115 was in curls. I never do curls, but clearly it was too much weight. My biceps look like string beans, so I don't know why I thought it could curl over 100 pounds, but you know, I just lost myself $30. The next challenge comes from Magnus Mitbo's YouTube channel. Recently, he did a collab with Eddie Hall where Eddie challenged him to doing a 26-pound Turkish getup. Now, when I think of a Turkish getup, I usually don't think of having the weight sticking straight up in the air. This seems really dangerous. I don't know if this is how you're supposed to do it. I'm sure Eddie Hall knows, but he also seems like the type of guy to try to make something unnecessarily hard. So I was gonna just do it the normal way, like the safe way, but then I remembered, you know, I'm a YouTuber. We're all YouTubers. We all know the YouTuber motto. clout before common sense.
We found a dead body.
So I was able to do the Turkish get up this way. Unfortunately, the only kettlebell we had was 25 pounds. We didn't have a 26 pounder lying around, shocking. So I technically didn't actually do the challenge. So I had no choice but to go for 30 pounds. The next challenge also comes from Magnus Mippo's YouTube channel. This was the pinch block deadlift. Now when Magnus did this, he was able to lift 113 pounds, setting a new world record. So I figured the only way this could really be a challenge is if I went for the world record myself. Unfortunately, when I hit 50 pounds, I realized I was pretty much at my limit, which was pretty shocking because I thought I'd at least get close to 100 pounds on this one. And after giving a few attempts at 60 pounds, I realized there was no way I was gonna get any heavier. But I at least had to get more than half of what Magnus got in the video, so I gave 60 pounds one more try. Thankfully, I was able to get 60. I know that's not super impressive. I was pretty disappointed about this because I thought, this is kind of like a weightlifting, rock climbing hybrid event. I should do pretty good at this, but I guess I suck at pinch blocks. I don't know. So the final challenge comes from the YouTuber Jeff Nippard. Now this guy is like a weightlifting savant. He knows everything about weightlifting, all like the science behind it and stuff like that. I haven't seen his credentials, but if you don't believe me, just look at his YouTube banner. This guy's in such good shape, he doesn't have organs anymore. Like, where did this guy's large intestine go? I mean, he's gotta be shitting pellets at this point. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up Jeff's channel is because Jeff created this really cool chart that tells you how good you are at each weightlifting event based on your body weight. And I decided to fuse this with the rock climbing chart to find out my overall score in rock climbing and in weightlifting. So if we plug in my scores from the 9C test, we can see that my crimp strength, my pull strength, and my core strength are all in the advanced category. And for some reason, my endurance was in the pro category. I don't know how that happened. It's definitely not accurate, but I'll take it. So now it was time to find out how good I was at weightlifting. And judging by this video so far, not very good. Now the first event was bench press. I had to bench at least 150 pounds, which is my body weight, to not be a noob at bench press. So I started at 75 pounds, which was pretty easy, moved up to 135, not too bad, 145, things are starting to get a little rough, but thankfully, I was able to crank out 155. Now, I've always been pretty good at bench press, right? I got a solid B cup going on, it's not the hardest lift for me. But the same can't be said for squats. Now, squatting is an event that's avoided like the plague by rock climbers, and that includes me. To make it into the beginner category for squats, I have to squat at least 125% of my body weight, which is about 190 pounds. Things were looking pretty good. I got my body weight. It wasn't too bad. It didn't feel great, but it felt okay. And another 40 pounds, what's that? That's nothing. This was the most embarrassing part of the video for me by far. I don't want to be the guy who can't squat at beginner level. I want to be the guy with that big fat booty, who wears like clothes that specifically accentuate it. But then, if anyone looks at it, they're in the wrong. The final event for this challenge is the deadlift. And to make it into the beginner category, I had to deadlift at least 225 pounds. Now I'm going to address the controversy before it begins. I'm a sumo deadlifter. For those of you that don't know, there's a bit of a war going on between sumo deadlifters and conventional deadlifters, because conventional deadlifters think that sumo deadlifters are cheating. Now, Jeff has an entire video dedicated to how sumo deadlift and conventional deadlift are both perfectly valid, and I'm not gonna get into all that. If you wanna know, you can watch his video. It's pretty interesting. So I did conventional deadlift all the way up to 125% of my body weight before I gave a go at 150%. So with the sumo deadlift, I was able to make it to the beginner category. I wasn't quite able to do it with conventional deadlift, but some of us are just born sumo, we're competitors, we're fighters. That's what sumo means. And some of us are conventional, we're boring and lame, and that's fine. Look at this big boy getting low right here. You're gonna tell me that's not cooler than squatting down like you're about to take a shit in the toilet? So those were all the challenges for this video. These were the total scores I was able to get between my rock climbing and weightlifting. As you can see, bit of a discrepancy between the two, but I had a really good time making this video. It was really fun to do exercises. They're outside what I usually do. And I did learn a really big lesson from making this video. I need to start doing leg day.